Have you noticed small but worrying changes in someone you love over the past year? Perhaps they've been eating less, feeling more tired, or withdrawing from social activities. These signs may seem minor, but they could be warning signs that their health is in a critical stage. It's easy to overlook these subtle shifts, but missing them could mean missing the chance to make their final months more meaningful, comfortable, and filled with dignity. In this video, we're going to walk you through 5 key signs that often appear a year before someone passes away. Signs that may seem like part of aging, but are actually the body sending urgent signals about its gradual decline. By recognizing these signs early, you can prepare emotionally and practically for what lies ahead, ensuring your loved one receives the care, love, and support they deserve in their final stage of life. You'll also learn how understanding these changes can help you improve the quality of the remaining time, making every moment count. Whether it's a sudden weight loss, extreme fatigue, or noticeable shifts in behavior, recognizing these signs early allows you to offer better comfort, understanding, and support. Plus, by the end of this video, you'll have a clear roadmap on what steps to take to ensure your loved one's comfort and dignity during this challenging time. So, stay with us until the end. Don't wait until it's too late to notice these signs. You'll leave this video equipped with the knowledge to make informed, loving decisions and ensure their remaining days are filled with peace and warmth. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. Number 1. Significant weight loss. One of the earliest and most poignant signs that someone is approaching the final chapter of their life is unintentional, often noticeable weight loss. It begins subtly at first, sometimes as something as small as a belt that suddenly feels too loose, clothes hanging more freely than they used to, or a beloved appetite that no longer holds the same hunger. It's easy to brush this off as just another inevitable sign of aging. Yet, the truth is, losing weight without actively trying is never a good sign. It's often the body's quiet, yet undeniable way of signaling that something deeper is happening beneath the surface. That creeping weight loss isn't merely a number on the scale, but a warning, a message that the body is beginning to fade in ways we can't always control. When weight starts to slip away, it's not just about appearances. It reflects a deeper struggle. The body might be unable to absorb nutrients properly anymore, or the digestive system could be losing its ability to break down food efficiently. More alarmingly, muscle mass is shrinking, leaving the body weaker and more vulnerable. The days when someone could move with strength and ease seem to slip further away. Even the smallest daily activities, like getting out of a chair or walking across the room, become harder to accomplish. In my opinion, this isn't just a slow aging process. It's the body sending an emotional message, one we must listen to carefully. This muscle weakness doesn't just impact movement, it creates a domino effect, increasing the risk of falls and injuries, weakening the immune system, and raising the chances of infections taking root. It's heart-wrenching to see someone you care about become more frail and fragile, no longer able to carry the energy and vitality they once had. On top of this physical decline, the loss of appetite only compounds the situation. For many older individuals, eating becomes a chore, not a joy. Food no longer brings the satisfaction it once did. The senses dull, the taste buds fade, and meals become an afterthought rather than an occasion. It's almost as if the body recognizes that it is slowing down and, instinctively, begins to reject what once was necessary to keep it moving. And it's not simply an issue of preference. It's part of the natural decline. The body sends fewer hunger signals to the brain, as if preparing for a quieter existence, one where food and sustenance become less important. What's left is a weakening body, struggling to keep itself going. This loss of appetite, paired with an inability to absorb nutrients, leads to a slow and heartbreaking decline in overall health. But weight loss in older adults isn't always simply about aging. It often points to underlying medical conditions that may have been silently progressing for years. Chronic diseases like cancer, heart failure, or kidney disease can manifest long before their more obvious symptoms show up. Diseases that go unnoticed, lingering in the background until the body can no longer cope. Even mental health conditions like depression or cognitive decline can trigger a person to stop eating, leading to a downward spiral. It's a vicious cycle that becomes harder to break with time, as the body lacks the strength to fight back. I've seen well-meaning families desperately try to fix this issue by urging their loved ones to eat more, offering favorite comfort foods or adding extra protein shakes to meals. But when the weight continues to drop despite their best efforts, it's clear that this is not just a dietary issue. It's something much bigger. The body is preparing itself for a transition, one that cannot be reversed by a few extra bites or a change in meal plans. It's a difficult truth to accept, but it's essential to recognize. At this stage, it's important not to push large meals. Forcing someone to eat more may not yield the desired results, and it could only add stress to an already taxing experience. Instead, focus on comfort and ease, soft, easy-to-digest foods, and most importantly, hydration. These small, thoughtful acts of care can help maintain a sense of dignity and comfort in a time of profound change. If you notice significant weight loss in an elderly loved one, especially if they are eating less, feeling weaker, or struggling to stay active, take a step back. This isn't about how someone looks. It's a deeper, more emotional message the body is trying to convey. Understanding that message now, with love and clarity, allows us to be present, to prepare for what's ahead with kindness, and to cherish every precious moment that remains. Every moment becomes even more valuable when we understand the body's slow surrender and the significance of embracing it with grace. Number 2. Extreme fatigue and weakness. As life draws nearer to its final chapter, one of the most profound and heartbreaking changes is the deep, unyielding exhaustion that sets in, lingering for days, weeks, and even months. This isn't the kind of tiredness you experience after a long, busy day. It's a crushing fatigue that no amount of rest seems to heal. It's not just being sleepy, it's a level of weariness that can make the simplest tasks feel monumental. Imagine waking up in the morning, only to feel like the very act of rising from bed takes every ounce of your strength. Walking to the other side of the room becomes a challenge. Everyday activities like cooking a meal, getting dressed, or even engaging in a simple conversation start to feel like impossible feats. It's not a normal part of aging. This is the body beginning to run low on the energy it has left, as if it's conserving every last bit to prepare for the inevitable. As our bodies start to slow down with age, organs that once worked in harmony begin to lose their strength. The heart, which once beat with power and purpose, starts to pump less forcefully. Circulation slows, and the muscles that once moved with ease struggle to receive the oxygen they desperately need. This explains why so many elderly individuals, in the final months of their lives, feel unsteady, weak, and unable to continue with their usual activities. But there's more at play here than just aging. A slowing metabolism becomes a significant factor. The body, which is usually busy producing and using energy, shifts its focus when nearing its end. Instead of fueling movement or activity, it redirects its energy into preservation mode. And with that comes the deep, pervasive fatigue that only gets worse over time. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. It's common during this stage to see a person sleeping more, needing longer naps throughout the day, and struggling to stay awake for any significant period. Energy levels can drop suddenly, where one moment they may seem perfectly fine, and the next, they're completely drained, unable to lift even a finger. But perhaps what cuts the deepest during this process is the emotional toll it takes on both the individual and their loved ones. Seniors who once reveled in their independence, who took pride in their ability to care for themselves and engage with others, begin to feel a profound sense of loss. There's a frustration that creeps in, and sometimes even shame, as they realize they can no longer do what they used to. They may withdraw, pulling away from conversations, avoiding social gatherings, or stopping their hobbies. Not out of apathy, but simply because their body can no longer keep up with the pace it once did. This can lead to a vicious cycle of isolation, where the person becomes more withdrawn, disconnected, and resigned, accelerating the decline. For families, it's a heartbreaking transformation to witness. To see a loved one who once thrived, who was vibrant and actively involved in life, now reduced to tiredness and withdrawal is soul-crushing. It's easy to misunderstand. It's tempting to think they're just being lazy or that they need to push through it. But the truth is, pushing them to do more, to try harder, won't help. The answer doesn't lie in forcing activity or expecting them to bounce back. What matters now is understanding their limits, offering rest when needed, and surrounding them with love and comfort. If you see a loved one experiencing this profound, ongoing tiredness that doesn't get better with rest, take it as a clear sign that their body is undergoing a significant change. Don't fret over what they can't do. Focus on what they still can. This is the time to treasure every conversation, to create moments of peace and joy in whatever form that takes. Support them without expectations, without pressure. Because in the end, it's not about how much they can physically accomplish. It's about making them feel valued, cherished, and at peace. And above all, it's about helping them know they are loved, even in their weakest moments. Number 3. Increased confusion or withdrawal. As we approach the final stage of life, the changes that occur in a person's mind and spirit can be both heartbreaking and deeply profound. One of the most noticeable shifts is how someone begins to think, speak, and engage with the world around them. It's as though a once vibrant connection to life slowly begins to fray, piece by piece. A person who was once sharp, quick to laugh, and deeply engaged with conversations might now struggle to recall simple details. Names that were once second nature can slip away, and even the most familiar places seem to become foggy and distant. Perhaps they lose track of time or repeat stories as though they're trapped in a loop, unable to remember that they've said the same thing just moments ago. These mental shifts, though sometimes subtle, can stretch out for months, or even a year, before death, and they represent more than just a simple lapse in memory. It's the body, the brain, and the soul preparing for something larger than we can see. It's crucial to understand that this isn't just normal forgetfulness. The brain is an incredible organ, but it needs a constant supply of oxygen and nutrients to function at its best. However, as the body ages and the heart slows its rhythmic pulse, blood flow weakens, and oxygen levels drop. This natural decline affects the brain in ways that are difficult to fully grasp until we witness it firsthand. When this happens, the brain begins to fray at the edges, unable to hold on to thoughts, ideas, and people as tightly as it once could. Confusion creeps in, decision-making becomes harder, and a person might find themselves staring into the eyes of a loved one, but no longer recognizing the familiar face. It's as if the very fabric of reality is beginning to unravel. And then, as if to intensify the quiet pain, emotional withdrawal can follow. This is not a simple choice, nor is it an act of neglect. A person nearing the end often begins to pull away from socializing, retreating from conversations that once filled them with warmth. They might become more silent, quieter in the presence of others, often sitting in the stillness of their thoughts. This isn't because they've stopped loving or caring for those around them. No, they still feel everything: the love, the connection, the bonds. But their brain, which once processed every emotion, now struggles to function in the same way. It's as though their ability to engage with life in the same vibrant manner has been dimmed, not by choice, but by necessity. In these moments, even the simplest interactions can feel exhausting. Loud environments, places that were once full of life, can suddenly become overwhelming, suffocating. The bright noise of the world around them becomes too much to bear, and so they retreat, quietly, back into their own safe space. And during this withdrawal, emotional fluctuations become more apparent. The person may show irritation or anxiety over small things. They may feel more easily frustrated, or on the flip side, they may become strangely calm, detached, and uninterested in things that once brought them joy. This is not a personal failing or a sign of malice. It is the natural progression of the mind as the body begins to decline. The very mechanisms that once helped them navigate life's complexities are slowing down, and with it, their ability to express emotions becomes clouded. For the family members and loved ones who are left behind to witness this transformation, it can be excruciatingly painful. Watching someone you love, someone who used to be so vibrant and alive, lose touch with reality can feel like losing them before they're even gone. There is a deep ache in knowing they are still physically here, but that something about their essence is slipping away. But it's crucial to remember, this is not something that they can control. They're not purposefully retreating. They're simply trying to adapt to a world that's becoming harder to navigate. Instead of trying to force them back into old patterns or revive a connection that's slipping away, the best gift you can offer is gentleness, understanding, and patience. Speak softly, comfort them with your presence, and know that, even in their silence, they still feel your love. Even if they can't always respond, your presence still holds meaning. It's not about the words. They may not be able to hear them the same way anymore. It's about showing up with the deepest compassion, letting them feel your heart next to theirs. If you notice that a loved one is becoming increasingly forgetful, confused, or disengaged, don't turn a blind eye to it. These changes, however difficult they may be to witness, are often the first signs that their body and mind are preparing for the inevitable transition. This is the time to take a step back, breathe, and simply be with them. Cherish the quiet moments. Create a space that feels familiar and safe. Even when words fail, your love, your presence, and your kindness will always reach them. So hold on to that truth. Because, in the end, it's love that transcends everything. Number 4. Frequent infections and slow healing. As we age, our bodies slowly start to betray us in ways we can't always see coming. One of the most heartbreaking signs of this process is when the immune system weakens, leaving us vulnerable in ways we never experienced when we were younger. It's so difficult to watch a once strong person, who barely ever had to worry about sickness, suddenly find themselves battling every cold, flu, or minor infection that comes their way. I think many of us can relate to how unsettling it is when someone we love, who was always full of life and energy, now seems to catch everything under the sun. It's a stark reminder that the body isn't the same as it used to be. Those small colds and injuries that once healed in no time now seem to linger far longer, as though the body is giving up on its natural defenses. Even the smallest cuts or bruises, once so insignificant, now seem to take forever to heal. And for those who are caring for aging parents or relatives, this can be an incredibly difficult reality to accept. It's hard not to feel a sense of helplessness when you realize that the body, which once bounced back effortlessly, can no longer repair itself in the same way. I think the hardest part is not just witnessing the physical decline, but feeling the emotional toll it takes on both the person who is suffering and their loved ones who feel powerless. One of the most painful things about this stage in life is the constant battle with infections. Pneumonia, urinary tract infections, UTIs, skin infections, these become far more frequent as the immune system becomes weaker. And it's even harder to see when these issues are misunderstood by those who aren't fully aware of the long-term toll on the body. Infections that would have once been a minor inconvenience can now become serious threats. It's so easy for family members to think that these are just isolated incidents, but when infections become a recurring issue, it's a sign that the body is no longer capable of fighting back like it once did. It's devastating when antibiotics, which once worked so effectively, seem to have lost their power. The person we love might require stronger medications, multiple rounds of treatment, or longer recovery periods to fight off infections that were once so easy to overcome. The heartache grows deeper as we realize this happens because the blood flow is slowing down, the organs are weakening, and the body just doesn't respond to treatment like it used to. And this leads to something so many of us overlook: chronic wounds. Small scratches, bruises, or sores that never seem to heal properly or keep reopening are more than just a nuisance. They're a red flag that circulation is compromised. When blood isn't flowing properly, Oxygen and nutrients don't reach the skin and tissues as they should, and the healing process is incredibly slow. For many elderly people, this is a constant struggle, and those tiny bed sores that form from being immobile can be an ever-present risk. If left untreated, they can become serious, leading to dangerous infections that could have been avoided with the proper care and attention. The hardest part, though, is that infections in the elderly often don't present themselves in the way we might expect. Rather than a clear fever or obvious signs of illness, an older person might simply seem more tired, confused, or withdrawn. It's a subtle decline that's so easy to overlook, especially when there's so much else going on in the day-to-day care. It breaks my heart to think about how many families may miss these early signs of infection simply because the symptoms aren't obvious. For seniors, a sudden change in mental clarity is often the first sign of something more serious. Something that could be a warning for an infection, long before other, more noticeable symptoms appear. Catching these changes early on can make all the difference in how much care and comfort they receive during their final days. It's a responsibility that can feel overwhelming but also so deeply important. For families, watching a loved one go through one infection after another is not only frustrating but truly heartbreaking. We want to fix it. We want to believe that just one more round of antibiotics, just one more trip to the hospital, will make it better. But sometimes, the reality is that the body just can't fight anymore, and the focus needs to shift. There comes a point where it's no longer about curing, but about comforting. The emotional exhaustion that comes with witnessing this process is real. Ensuring they stay hydrated, keeping their skin clean and moisturized, and minimizing unnecessary stress on their fragile body can be far more beneficial than more aggressive treatments. Often, additional treatments only cause more pain and discomfort. The best thing we can do is to surround them with love, make sure they're comfortable, and support their emotional well-being in their final stage of life. It's about making their journey as peaceful as possible. Number 5. Major changes in breathing or circulation. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. One of the most profound and unmistakable signs that the body is approaching its final stage of life is the gradual yet significant shift in breathing patterns and circulation. It's a subtle but undeniable shift that often feels like the body is quietly, slowly surrendering. As this change takes place, you may begin to notice that your loved one's breathing becomes slower, more shallow, and more labored than before. It may feel as if each breath is a bit heavier, harder to take. You might even hear their breaths intermittently pause, or witness them becoming irregular, speeding up unexpectedly before slowing down again. It can be a disorienting experience, as though the rhythm of life itself is gently ebbing away. In some cases, individuals may experience a breathing pattern called Cheyne-Stokes respiration, where deep, quick breaths alternate with long, almost painful pauses. It's not something anyone likes to witness, but it is often a clear sign that the end is near. These changes often start subtly, almost imperceptibly, but over time, they become more pronounced, happening more frequently, and they become hard to ignore. Another sign of this inevitable shift in the body's energy is weaker circulation. You might feel their hands or feet becoming cold to the touch, perhaps even their nose or ears, areas that were once warm and full of life. Their skin may lose its healthy glow, becoming pale, almost ethereal, with a bluish or mottled appearance, particularly around the fingers and toes. It's as though the body is conserving its resources, focusing blood flow on the vital organs and cutting off circulation to the extremities. It's a powerful reminder that the body is beginning to shut down, that the heart is no longer pumping with the same strength as it once did. And yet, for many, even the simplest movements, sitting up, speaking, or shifting in their chair, become an exhausting ordeal. These small tasks may leave them breathless, needing to stop and catch their breath. It's painful to witness someone you love struggle in this way, knowing that once, they could walk across the room without a second thought, but now, even a small movement can leave them winded. In some cases, weakened lung function can be a significant factor. If there's fluid buildup in the lungs, it can make every breath feel like a battle. It may not seem like much at first, just a bit of congestion or an occasional cough, but for someone nearing the end of their life, this often signals that their lungs are failing them. The sounds of gurgling, the discomfort of tightness in the chest, these are not just symptoms. They're a message from the body saying it is struggling to hold on. As this progresses, lying flat in bed may become unbearable. They may find themselves more comfortable resting upright, propped up by pillows or lying in a recliner, just to make breathing a little easier. For family members, these signs can be nothing short of terrifying. It's hard to see someone you love in such a vulnerable state, and your heart aches to help them, to do anything to ease their discomfort. It's so easy to feel powerless, to want to urge them to breathe deeply, to fight against the inevitability of it all. But in many cases, what we must come to terms with is that this slowing down is the body's natural course. These changes are often beyond our control. However, the most loving and compassionate thing we can do is to make them as comfortable as possible. Keeping the room cool, offering small sips of water, using a humidifier, these simple comforts can bring a little relief. And sometimes, medications or oxygen therapy can help ease their breathing, but the ultimate goal shifts from curing or stopping the process to simply making them comfortable. It's about peace, about allowing them to be at ease as they move toward the inevitable. If you notice these changes, labored breathing, cold extremities, a bluish tint to the skin, take note. These are often signs that the body is conserving energy, slowing down its processes. This is a time to be fully present for your loved one. It's a time to offer reassurance, to create a calm, safe environment where they can feel secure, loved, and cared for in every moment. Final thoughts. As we reflect on the difficult signs we've discussed today, significant weight loss, extreme tiredness, memory loss, frequent infections, and major changes in breathing and circulation, it's important to remember that these signs often appear during the year leading up to an elderly person's passing. While these signs may not all happen at once, and they may not always be easy to spot at first, when you start noticing them, it's an undeniable indication that the body is preparing for its final stage. These changes aren't just physical. They are emotional and spiritual milestones as well. For many families, accepting these signs can be one of the hardest parts of the process. We want to fight for our loved ones, to encourage them to eat more, move more, or push through their exhaustion. It's natural. But sometimes, the greatest act of love we can offer is to listen to their body's quiet plea. Instead of trying to prevent the inevitable, we can focus on making their remaining time as peaceful, comfortable, and meaningful as possible. To be with them, in full presence, as they live their final moments with dignity. Understanding these signs isn't about fearing death. It's about preparing for it. When we notice these signs early, we allow ourselves to provide the best possible care, to make informed decisions, and to ensure that our loved ones' final months are filled with love, peace, and dignity. This is a time to cherish every moment, to share stories, and to remind them with every fiber of our being that they are loved, that they are not alone, and that their life has meant everything. As we wrap up today's video, I want to take a moment to ask you, what have you learned so far? These signs and changes are often difficult to witness, but understanding them can help us navigate some of life's most challenging moments with love, grace, and compassion. It's not about fearing the inevitable, but about cherishing the time we have and making it as meaningful as possible for our loved ones. So, I'd love to hear from you. What's one thing you've learned today that you plan to bring into your life or use to help those around you? Drop your thoughts and reflections in the comments below this video. And if you enjoyed this content and found it helpful, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos that can make a difference in your life. Your support means the world to us, and we appreciate you being part of our community. Thank you for watching.